I'm a big fan of you and your journey, and we've been good friends for a little while. So seeing your progression, how you've grown in the space and inspired so many, has really touched me, and a lot of people aren't familiar with your story and the work you've done. So just to begin with, let's just talk a bit about yourself. You've been in sales for over a decade, and as many of you guys will know, being in sales for that period of time is not easy, especially growing year by year in sales over that period of time as well. For some of you who aren't aware, Alex has taken on various roles in his time in the sales industry, but on a both personal and professional level, let's begin with what's brought you to this moment right now.
Absolutely. I mean, when you say decade, it's making me sound old. You're aging me already. But it has been quite some time. So let me just give you the run through of my story so far. So I grew up in Croydon in southeast London in a single parent household. I'm blessed that my mother's actually out here somewhere supporting. So shout out to Mumsy, who was really a real soldier throughout me growing up and really created a great environment for me to be able to thrive. So it's important that I call that out first and foremost. But coming up in that kind of household, single parent, it was tough, right? It wasn't easy. And there were definitely scenarios where I felt like a lot of my life I was carrying a bit of a chip on my shoulder, really, and going through life feeling like I had something to prove to myself, something to prove to other people. And I think I still carry that chip a little bit today. But as I got older, I remember I was age 13, I set up an eBay store, which became really successful doing drop shipping. And I was just trying to figure out different ways to make something of my life ultimately. And then I got to university and I got a full scholarship studying corporate law. I guess that would have been mother's dream. And then 8 months later, I dropped out because I decided that that wasn't for me. I didn't feel like it was the path that I wanted to go down. And so I dropped out. And I got into sales. I got into actually a traditional sales role at that time in a company that sold printers and copiers, and I was what you call a BDR, which is really the most entry-level role that you have in sales, which is really where you're just doing this all day, picking up the phone, trying to book meetings with other qualified prospects, and then you're passing those leads on to senior salespeople for them to go and close and win the business. So I did that for about a year. In my first week, broke a company record. I booked 13 meetings within my first week. And it was that chip on my shoulder that I had that was really the fuel. That was the thing that was driving me at that time. But I knew I was hooked. And you know, when you have that self-belief in yourself that you know you're destined for something more, you know, you're destined for something greater. And so every year from then on, for the first few years, I was in traditional sales roles. I went from printers and copiers to security and access management to also an e-learning company. And then one of the things I observed was a lot of the top salespeople at those companies, they were on average earning anywhere between 60K and about 100K. I wasn't seeing many people breaking through that. And I knew there was a point I wanted to get into the multi-six figures and beyond. So I thought, I've got to figure this out, right? The market opportunity isn't big enough. And I came across someone else who was in software sales, and I saw that, let's just say he had a nice car, he had a nice house, and I thought I could do with a little bit of that. And that was when I came to find out about software sales, and now, having spent a decade in it, I've gone from being a field salesperson to a sales manager to most recently a vice president of sales of one of the fastest growing SaaS companies out there, where I ran a team of 19 with 3 sales directors and 16 field sellers. So it's been a great, great pleasure just being able to serve many others, contribute content, and that's really my journey in probably 3 minutes.